Welcome back, it's Cash here, and in this video we're going to talk about if you should buy a house in 2021. So it is a very competitive market, and if you do find a house, you most likely have to go over the asking price, which means you have to pay more out of pocket. Usually the biggest hurdle for most people buying a house is the down payment. So in this market, not always, you have to be ready to go over the asking price. So what should you do if you're in the market? Do you wait it out and see if the interest rates go up? Maybe there's going to be an increase in the housing supply, or do you take advantage of the interest rates and buy a house this year? So for our video, we're going to do an exercise and we're going to play 3 different scenarios, which will give you some idea of what possibilities awaits us in the future. And my goal is not to make this decision for you. It's simply just to show you what could happen. Now, for this exercise, we're gonna play around with the interest rate. So let's say for our scenario number 1, you have a buyer who has 20% saved. By the way, that's not a requirement, but for this example, this person has 20% saved and they're looking at a $350,000 purchase price. Let's say this person enters the market and all of a sudden the interest rate jumps from 3% to 4.5%. What happens here? So obviously your monthly payment will go up from $1,400 to $1,700 and your total interest will increase by about $85,000. But obviously this will affect the housing prices, right? Exactly. So because the interest rate have gone up, there will be less buyer demand, which means the prices of homes will go down. And that could be a good thing for a lot of people that don't have the ability to go over the asking price. It means there's not a lot of competition and you don't have to put a lot of money out of pocket. So that's scenario number 1. Now, scenario number 2, what if nothing changes? Let's say the same person enters the market at 3% on average interest rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage rate and is looking at a $350,000 home. So what happens here? Obviously, the monthly payment will stay the same. If housing supply doesn't increase, we'll see this trend that we're seeing right now, the increase in prices, because there's still going to be a lot of competition. A lot of people have to go over the asking price. So unfortunately, this is what's happening at the moment right now. So if you're a buyer and you are looking to buy at this time, make sure you're ready possibly to go over the asking price. Now, let's talk about our last scenario. What if you wake up and the interest rates fall? Which I doubt it, but let's, for the sake of this argument, let's just go with it. Let's say the same person, 20% down, $350,000 home, enters the market and our interest rate from 3 goes to 2%. So what happens here? Your monthly payment goes from $1,400 to around $1,200 and your total interest will decrease by $60,000. I mean, that's ridiculous. You're potentially paying more in rent than that monthly payment. So what happens here? Obviously, there's going to be more buyer demand. Everybody wants to take advantage of that. So you're going to see this continued increase in home prices, which causes more competition, meaning you have to pay even more over the asking price. So what's the point of all this scenarios? Obviously, the first scenario is more preferable for someone who doesn't have a lot of cash, liquid cash, to go over the asking price. So if you're in this situation, I would possibly wait to see what happens later on this year. There might be an increase in the interest rate, and who knows, maybe there will be an increase in housing supply. So that is kind of the reality that you're facing. But what if you do have a lot of cash? Maybe you are a strong cash buyer. In that case, go ahead and take advantage of the cheap interest rate. What's really beautiful about real estate is even if there is a market crash that a lot of these YouTubers, so-called professional YouTubers, are saying, at least at the end of it, you'll have a roof over your head. Now, there are situations that you could get into a negative equity situation, but the end of it, you will have a roof over your head. So take advantage of this cheap interest rate and buy a house. And the reality is we might not be in this bubble. DFW market is growing rapidly. A lot of companies are moving here. We have a lot of business incentives. So it just makes sense for our real estate market to increase in price. And lastly, I kind of don't see the last scenario happening. But if it does happen, say goodbye to affordable housing. And if you learn one thing from this video is for you to sit down with a professional realtor, talk to them about your finances and your goals so they can help you make the decision that's best for you. I hope this video helps you if you are in this situation, and I would greatly appreciate it if you like my video and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, have a great day.